Mayday, mayday, mayday. We're down to just a few hundred kilograms of fuel. Halfway across the Atlantic, the engines of an Airbus A330 go silent, plunging 306 souls into total darkness. Without power, the aircraft has become a 200-ton glider with no place to land but the freezing ocean. The pilots are fighting for control, while the crew prepares the passengers for a slim chance of survival. Where are you watching from? Comment below as we investigate the longest passenger glide in history. This is the story of Air Transat Flight 236. On August 24, 2001, Flight 236 departed Toronto for Lisbon. On board were 293 passengers and a highly experienced crew. Captain Robert Pish, a veteran with nearly 17,000 hours, led the flight. But the real story began 4 days earlier in a maintenance hangar. During a routine check, technicians found metal chips in the right engine's oil. They decided to replace the entire engine, but they ran into a problem. A hydraulic pump from the old engine didn't quite fit the new one. There was a clash between the hydraulic line and the fuel line. Instead of waiting for the correct part, the maintenance team followed unofficial advice and forced the fit, believing they had enough clearance. They were wrong. In the sky, the vibration of the engine caused those two lines to rub together like a saw against a pipe. While the passengers slept, a hole was being rubbed into the fuel line. 5 hours into the flight, the pilots noticed something strange. The right engine showed high oil pressure and low oil temperature. It was a bizarre reading that didn't match any manual. What they didn't realize was that the massive fuel leak was actually cooling the oil. They were looking at a symptom, not the disease. They contacted maintenance control, but even the experts on the ground were baffled. The Airbus A330 is designed with a complex fuel balancing system. As the right engine's fuel sprayed into the Atlantic, a fuel imbalance advisory flashed on the screen. There was significantly more fuel in the left wing than the right. Captain Pish, relying on his years of experience, made a fatal cognitive error. He assumed the computer was glitching. Instead of suspecting a leak, he opened the cross-feed valve to move fuel from the healthy left wing into the leaking right side. He was effectively feeding the leak. He was pumping his only remaining fuel out into the night sky. The manual explicitly warned, do not cross-feed if a leak is suspected. But Pish was trapped by framing bias. He had already decided it was a computer error, so he ignored the evidence that suggested a physical rupture. He believed he was balancing the plane. In reality, he was emptying it. The plane was losing nearly 15 tons of fuel per hour. The bomb was primed, but that decision would have been enough to destroy most people. What happened next made everything before it look minor. The reality hit at 6:13 a.m. The right engine flamed out. The pilots were still 150 miles from the nearest landing strip at Lodges Airport in the Azores. Pish finally realized this wasn't a computer glitch. He declared a mayday and began a desperate diversion. 13 minutes later, the left engine also went quiet. The Azores glider was born. As the engines died, the main generators failed. The cockpit was swallowed by darkness. The only thing keeping the most basic instruments alive was the ram air turbine, RAT, a small propeller that drops from the belly of the plane to catch the wind. If you're finding this breakdown of cockpit survival intense, hit that subscribe button now. We dive into the psychology of aviation disasters every week. Captain Pish had to maintain a precise speed. If he flew too slow, the RAT wouldn't provide enough electricity and he would lose the flight controls. If he flew too fast, he wouldn't be able to stop on the runway. He was at 39,000 feet, gliding into the unknown. The air traffic controller in the Azores began flickering the runway lights on and off, trying to give the pilots a beacon in the blackness. The descent was terrifyingly fast. They were dropping at 2,000 feet per minute. Pish realized he was actually too high. If he didn't lose altitude fast, he would overshoot the island and end up in the ocean anyway. He began a series of violent S-turns and a 360-degree orbit, maneuvers normally reserved for small gliders, not a massive Airbus. The structural stress was immense. The passengers could hear the wind howling against the fuselage as the plane groaned under the weight of the turns. They were 8 miles out and still at 13,000 feet. Every move was a gamble. She thought she had won. She had no idea what Thomas was already putting in motion. They hit the runway hard. The plane bounced back into the air, a 200-ton ball of kinetic energy. When it touched down the second time, Pish stood on the brakes. Without the anti-skid system working properly, the wheels locked instantly. 8 of the 12 tires exploded in a shower of sparks and rubber. Fires broke out in the main landing gear. The plane finally screeched to a halt just 600 feet from the end of the runway. If they had been 10 seconds slower to act, they would have plunged off the cliff into the sea. Pish didn't wait. Evacuate. Evacuate, he ordered. All 306 people were out of the plane in 90 seconds. The investigation by the GPIA, the Portuguese agency, the story of Flight 236 is a testament to the fact that humans are the weakest link and the strongest asset in the cockpit. Pish's logic failed him in the cruise, but his hands saved everyone in the descent. It remains a haunting lesson. Automation can help you fly, but only airmanship can help you survive when the automation dies. But what Thomas did next, nobody saw coming. The survival of all 306 people on Flight 236 is often called the miracle in the Azores. But as the investigation concluded, it was a miracle born of a preventable mistake. The expert trap caught the maintenance team, the ground engineers, and the pilots. They all believed that close enough was good enough for a 200-ton machine. The investigation into Air France 447, which occurred years later, shared a similar DNA. Both involved an Airbus A330. Both involved a crew confused by their instruments. But while the Air Transat crew managed to glide to safety, the Air France crew fell into a stall they couldn't escape. The difference was manual handling. Pish knew how to fly his plane when the computers checked out. The 447 crew did not. Today, every pilot is trained on the Pish maneuver, the desperate S-turns used to shed altitude without engines. The industry learned that we cannot just train pilots to be systems managers. We must train them to be aviators. If the pitot tubes freeze or the fuel lines rupture, there is a final, chilling reason why Captain Pish was almost fired after being called a hero, linked to a secret from his past that the media uncovered. To see the controversial truth the airline tried to bury, watch this video next. It shows you the man behind the miracle. Subscribe our channel so you don't miss the latest updates.